Hello everyone and welcome back to Sam's Craft Castle. This is our last fall card of the year, you guys. It's already November. Next week we're jumping into Christmas land already. And we'll do Christmas through November and then through December up until like the week before Christmas. And then we'll be moving into January already, which is crazy. So I don't even know what to say about it. I can't believe how fast this year has gone. So I'm using Gina K Designs Perfect Palettes and Happy Fall are the two stamp sets I'm using. This card is really easy and quick once you get the hang of it. There is a little sort of learning curve, I guess, but once you get the hang of it, you're good to go. I did this for a card swap I'm in at work, and I had to make 16 of them, and I finished them in probably about 2 hours, which I think is the fastest I've ever finished a card for this swap that I'm in, and I've been doing it for a few months now. Like, I can't believe how fast it went, but it was very nice. So we're actually making a square card this time, which is 5x5, so it'll still fit in an A2 size envelope, so you don't have to worry about the extra postage situation. If you don't want to, you can always ship it in a square envelope too, but just remember that if you do that, it will cost a little extra in postage. So what you're seeing me do here is actually the most complicated part of this whole card. So basically what I'm doing is I have the outline image from Perfect Palettes. So there's an outline for the wood planks, and then there's sort of a filler piece. This is the outline piece. I tried it with the filler piece and the outline piece, but ended up deciding I liked it better this way. So I am not a measurer person. I don't like to measure things. I'm not good at it. And when I try, it just ends up funky and not straight anyway. So why bother, right? I don't know if any of y'all are out there. Let me know in the comments down below if you're like that too. If you can't measure like anything to save your life. So basically, what I did is, because if you can see, it's hard to see it here because my Misty doesn't fit entirely on my screen. But if you look, it stamps a little bit off the edge of the cardstock because these are designed to work with 4¼ by 5½ inch cards, so it pretty much covers the front of a whole card panel. And this is smaller than that. This is about 4½ by 4½ square, and so there's a little extra overhang, and I use that overhang to help me line up where the next plank is supposed to go. So I line up the end of one plank with the first mark on the mat. You can kind of see it up. I just smashed my computer trying to point at it, but you can't see me doing that. You can kind of see up in the corner there, where the corner of the paper is, where the mark is that I'm using to line them up. But obviously in that case we don't have another one to add because we've reached the bottom of the paper. And what you just saw me do is the most complicated part of the card. It did take me a long time to kind of figure out how I wanted to get that look, and it still wasn't exactly what I was going for, but it still worked. The people who received the swap still liked it, so I'm gonna go with that. It was all good. But yeah, so I was kind of going for like this wood, like those wood sign things that are so popular now. That's kind of what I was going for, and that I was gonna like hang something off of it, which also didn't come out the way that I had planned. So this was kind of the do it as you go and figure it out type of situation. But the other thing I used was this Woodland Forest 6x6 paper pack, and I really loved that paper pack. It's almost used up now, which is good because I'm on this mission to like try to use up all my pattern paper because I have a ton of it, and I don't need that much, and I'd rather just use it. So I'm gonna cut a square here. I end up realizing I can't use this piece because that circle that I used from the card from the swaps I did last month, it gets in the way and the paper's not big enough on any one side to use for this card. So I'm going to pick out a very cute little leaf situation. See, I'm already on to Christmas thinking wreath builders and all that jazz. But so I'm going to pick out this leaf card. This will be cut, this leaf card, oh my goodness. Who let me record a voiceover tonight? So, anyway, moving on. I'm going to pick out this leaf print pattern paper which I'll cut down to 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, which will leave just a little bit of a gap on my finished card to show off some of the card base, I guess. I just wanted to bring because I use a craft card base, and I wanted to bring that out even more so it shows a little bit. So there's my leaf. So I'm kind of going to look here now, and I'm going to look at the colors in there and pick out the colors that I want to use for my greeting, which is going to come from the Happy Fall set, and it's the little banner that says Happy Fall, y'all. So I basically, you're going to see me stamp one here. I think I picked cherry red. I told myself I was going to write down the color that I used, and I didn't. So pretty sure I went with, it's either red velvet or cherry red. Whatever is linked on the blog is what it is. So, although now I'm looking at it again and I don't think it's, I don't know. I picked a red color. So I'm going to definitely use my Misty for this stamp because it is a solid stamp. And I was just actually stamping things right before I started recording this voiceover. And once again learned my lesson about the importance of using your Misty, because I am sitting here staring at 3 little elf boys who have no faces because I tried to stamp them with blocks and I don't know what I was thinking. It's getting late. We'll say that. No, I don't know. But yeah, with solid stamps like this, you definitely want to use your Misty because you're probably going to want to stamp it a few times. One thing though to also remember, especially with solid stamps, is to be patient. I sometimes struggle with that from time to time, especially when I'm being creative because I just want to like get it done. Not really get it done, but I'm like, okay. Usually once I sit down, I've got a ton of ideas in my head that I'm trying to get into something. So sometimes I rush a little bit. But so I'm going to stamp that. And then I actually do it again. Honestly, I think I should have just been patient and waited for it to even out. I honestly think it would have evened out just fine on its own without any help from me. And I think I made it mushy. And yeah, I should have just waited. It would have been fine. It didn't need any extra help. But again, I got a little impatient, so I stamped it twice. But yeah, that's always an option with solid stamps. If you don't see how you can tell that I'm pointing at the screen again that you guys can't see, you can kind of see where the line at the top isn't as clear, the little white bit, but oh well. This is the other part where I did something weird, and I'm gonna fussy cut this out. There is a die set for this stamp set. If you want, it cuts the banner, and then there's 3 leaves in the stamp set that it cuts. I didn't get the die set because I have my scan and cut, and I just chose not to use my scan and cut this time because it was just easier to quickly cut it out because it's all pretty much straight lines except for basically the 3 corners at the bottom. So I was like, I can cut that out, no problem, and it'll be quicker than me. It would actually be, in this case, quicker than me getting to my scan and cut and setting that all up. So sometimes it's worth it if you got more detailed images like the elves that I'm looking at over here right now. But for this one where it's mostly just straight lines, it was just easier to say, you know what, I'm just going to slice it up with a scissors. So my idea when I was envisioning this card and planning it and doing all that fun stuff was that basically this little banner would be hanging off the wood thing, like it was like the side of a basket or something, I don't know. But that's what I wanted, and I was on the right track until I wasn't. I wanted to punch 2 holes in the corners of the banner, and then what I should have done was drape it over the craft piece, and then it would have looked like it was hanging like over the basket or over the door or whatever you wanted to envision the wood plank piece to be. But someone, me, couldn't find her hole punch. Still don't know where it is, honestly. I just started looking for it again. I don't know where it is. And so I found this 2-hole ribbon punch thing that's meant for you to string a ribbon through both sides and then tie a bow. So that's what I did. It still looks cute. Still kind of wish I would have gone with the original idea first. I also did not subject you to my bow tying because that was a mess, and none of y'all wanted to watch me struggle to tie a bow, because it should not have been as hard as it was, but it was very difficult that night for some reason. So all I have here is my card base, which this is a 5x5 card, so that is a 5x10 piece of paper. I think I said that right. And then I'm just going to glue it all together, and that's it. This card was so easy and to put together. Like, it was so easy. I don't know what else to say. I even shocked myself with how easy it was. I knew it was going to be on the simpler side, but it was even easier than I expected. So, like I said, I actually made so many of these. I needed to make 16 of them for this swap, and I think I ended up making like 20 because I just kept going and didn't even realize when I got to 16, and all of a sudden I had 20 of them, and I was like, oh, okay, well now we got extras. Like, not that anyone's complaining about that, but yeah. So basically, that's it. I'm gonna glue that little thing on, and that's it. Oh, and then I did add one more thing at the end, which I almost forgot about because I was not thinking about it. I did add some gold sequins at the end because I just felt like it needed a little something. Just because, I don't know, maybe it was just because it didn't look like it did in my head, and so I decided to put some sequins on it. So I'm going to share my little tip for laying down sequins. So you should always do sequins in threes, is what they say, or gems or whatever, enamel dots. You know, try to make them look like a triangle, do them in sets of 3. Sometimes, though, that's boring. So I ended up just taking the sequins, and you're going to see me do it in just a second here. And I basically just threw them all onto the paper. I took not even a handful of them because that would have been too many. But I threw a bunch onto the top of the card and see where they fell. Saw where they fell. And that's basically where I glued them down. And that was the extent of that. It really was. Very easy. And then it gives you more of that scattered look because they really did just fall randomly, and then I just put them where they fell down. And that was it. Also, I used these little glue dot things, which you barely saw them peeking off the bottom of the screen there. Those are Zot's Bling glue dots. So, yeah. That's what you call them. They're glue dots. They are the tiniest little glue dots I've ever seen in my life. But I actually really like them for doing sequins. I'm not a big liquid glue fan myself. Don't really like to use it at all, really. Again, when I'm crafting, I don't always have the best patience, as witnessed in the last video too with the glitter glitch gel. I don't like waiting for things to dry. I don't have to do that with the bling dots. I can just put them on to my card with the sequins and we're good to go, and that's that. You'll also see me pull out my Marvy jewel picker situation. I don't love that thing. I don't love my quick stick either. They don't work for me, but I know other people who swear by them, so don't take my word for that. It's just what works for me. Might not work for you. You might want the jewel picker. It might be easier. You may find the jewel picker is also difficult for you. But again, to each their own. I also think I kind of use it wrong, because I actually just recently learned that I put sequins on all wrong, and I technically put them on all wrong this time too. I always thought you were supposed to put them with the open side or the cup side down, and I just recently discovered that that's not how you're supposed to do it, and you're supposed to put the flat side down. And I still tend to put them the wrong way, which might be what I did on this card. I mean, I'm not admitting that. Okay, I am. I did. I put them on backwards. Because I didn't realize it until it was too late that I was doing them backwards. New skills. Sometimes it take a while to set in. So, but honestly, I'm just going to leave you now, maybe with some music until the end of the video, although I think it's almost done. And because that's this card. That's it. You've seen me do the whole thing. I've walked you through it. I think you should go and try it yourself now if you have these sets, or maybe you have something similar. You know, you could still accomplish a very similar thing using a wooden background stamp of some kind and another fall set and make your own banner. You don't have to use the stamped one. So give it a try and share them with me if you do. Post them in the comments below or let me know where I can see them on Instagram or something in the comments. So thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below, and have a crafty day.